We're not live yet. Now we're live.
All right. Here we go.
Can everybody hear us and see us? Blake, Jessica, Michelle, Beth, Christina. Can everybody see us? Can everyone see my dog sleeping and my messy office?
My dog just walked through here, so we are a dog-friendly webinar.
We are. We are absolutely.
Okay, so for those of you who are on here, Raul is excellent at chatting with people and getting engagement. So if he calls on you, or if he's asking for engagement and you don't speak up, he's going to call on you and he'll call you out. He'll get you chatting. So Adam and Mitzi,
Wade,
thank you very much.
Wade or Wade? So let's get started with where, so everyone can hear me and see me. Can everyone see my screen? It says welcome, leveraging and hiring virtual assistant. Hiring and leveraging virtual assistant. Yes, there's your dog, Chase, and your wife.
Yeah, there they go.
Can everybody just raise their hand? Trevor. Hey, Trevor, there's no way to let you speak. So sorry, you can type something in the chat, but there's no way to let you speak. Everyone can see the screen. Okay, awesome. All right, so where's everybody from? Where is everybody from? I was looking at where people are from. It looked like folks were spread out across the country, but where's everybody? Lizette, where are you from? Sean, where are you from? I have a bit of an echo. Can everyone else hear that echo?
I can hear it a little bit. It's not worse than it's ever been. If you've got headphones or something like that.
Let me try that. Let me go get some headphones.
All right, so there's the dog again. It's up to me to create this chat. So yeah, Joan from Toronto. Lizette did not hear an echo. Where is everybody else from? Hawaii, Deborah. Jealous that you're in Hawaii, but it is early for you. So thanks for getting up and making the time. Let's see, Georgia, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Jessica is from Brooklyn. So I recently moved down to Southern California from Portland, Oregon, and the market in Southern California is still booming, but in Portland, it's kind of really taken a bit of a dip. What's the market looking like for everybody here? So, Jacqueline, how is it in, I just saw you, in Georgia? And then also, Debbie, how is it, Deborah, excuse me, how is it in Hawaii? All right, who else do we have in here that we haven't called on yet? Lindsay, where are you from? Jacqueline says it slowed down a little bit. B. Wade, Orange County, California. I am just in Chino Hills. It's slow in Canada, but coming back now. All right. Is Joan? Does it tend to slow down in the fall and the winter, or is this or is it kind of just busy the entire time? Lindsay from Florida, great. All right, Raul is back.
I'm back. How is it now, everybody?
It's about the same, but it's not too shabby. We had some people talking that that it wasn't too bad. I did my best to interact with people, asking them where they're from, how's the market.
Good job, Chase. Good job. I'm impressed.
Raul is the outgoing guy. I'm the systems and processes nerd. So next time I'll have to write out a process on how to keep engagement going at the beginning of a webinar. Excuse me.
Deborah said now it's worse. Trevor, how's it for you?
Joan, that's fascinating that it's slow in the summer as realtors, and in the fall the market rises. In a lot of markets I've been in, the summer's always the hot market. for real estate, and then it slows down in the winter markets.
So it's funny you say that, Chase. So it's, by the way, is it better now for folks or worse? Or Trevor, it's better for you, it's worse for everybody else? So let me hear some feedback on that. And then it's interesting, in international markets, it's really hot in the summer, in temperate climates like Mexico. Greece, it's crazy right now. The sound is perfect, okay. But no echo. About the same, no echo. Awesome, I'll take that. About the same, but no echo. All right, so I was just in Greece for what, 3 weeks, or how long was I there? Anyways, I was there for.
You tell us.
I was there for 3 weeks. I was in Greece for 3 weeks and in Paris for a few days. And the markets in Greece and Paris, by the way, 2 countries EXP is in right now and crushing it. Chase was like, do not talk about agent attraction. I might still go down that
And
road.
he's brought it up 6 minutes in, folks. All right.
All right, cool. So
We'll get the show on the road.
We'll get a show on the road. Chase, do you want to quickly introduce yourself, and then I'll introduce myself, and we'll jump into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Chase Fraser, real estate agent. I got licensed in 2018, and a little bit about me is I'm like a systems and process nerd. I probably should have been an engineer. Going into college, I should have studied engineering, but I think very linearly. I think in pictures, I have to know how something works really on a deep level before I'm even comfortable implementing it. So the old ready, aim, fire adage, I get stuck in aiming. But I did well as a real estate agent, because what I did is when I got my license, I joined a brokerage because I didn't know what I was doing. And when I joined them, all I did for like the first 2 years is I wrote down everything I did as I did it, because I wanted to remember how I did it, because we all had some fun in college and might have killed some brain cells. But then also I didn't want to have to go back and ask my team leads the same questions over and over and over and over again, because I couldn't remember how to do something. So I just wrote everything down as I did it. And in the span of 2 or 3 years, I had a full-on standard operating procedures of how I ran my business. And then I had the thought of, okay, well, let's hire virtual assistants. They can run my business for me. And that was a dumpster fire for a couple of years, because I didn't know how to hire them, how to train them. I just thought people would know what they were doing. I thought I could just give them my SOPs and say, hey, you go, here's the playbook, how to run everything. It's all there that you need. And I learned that didn't work either. So, but then, kind of figured out what are the keys to documenting, what's the fastest way to do it, what's the best way to train people, how do you make sure that they understand the importance of what you're doing is to your business, so that they can keep the business rolling for you, etc. So, sorry, went on a little long. Raul, tell us about you.
So everybody, Chase and I, before this webinar talked, he's like, I'm going to give you a sign. So if you see Chase doing this, it's my sign to shut up.
Moving forward.
All right, so really quick, my name is Rahul Manohar. I tune with WorkSource. I'm also with EXP Mexico. I moved to Mexico 3 years ago. I put together commercial syndicates on land deals. My background is I sold a company to Google in 2013. I bought real estate all over the world, and I decided that Mexico was going to be home. And I was so busy working 80, 90 hours a week when I met Chase at a Cabo event with Brett Gove. And I was like, I need to either sell this business and quit, or figure out something. And Chase said, well, the problem isn't the VAs you've been hiring that isn't failing. The problem is your system. And so Chase documented my entire system. And now I still do that number of deals. By the way, if you know commercial, that's a lot. I still do the same number of deals. I'm only now working 10 hours a week, and my business is running. Now I choose with my time to spend more time with my kids and go surfing and do jujitsu and launching a new company. However, you could just go do more deals, right? Did I stay within time, Chase?
You might have 4 more seconds left.
Holy crap, that's a miracle.
Okay, now you're out.
All right, let's move on. Okay, so who is WorkSource? I'll grab this slide, Chase. We do not consider ourselves a virtual assistant company, right? Now we are, the reason that we said this is an EXP-based process is we are both EXP agents. and we have built our systems for EXP agents. Those of you who are with EXP, which is mostly everybody on this call, some aren't, but every company does things a little bit differently. EXP is the first virtual company. And so things in our organization are different than anywhere else in the world. There's some, like lately come Sally's, right? But our systems are unique. And so who we are is we are a process documentation company first. We document processes. And then once your processes are fully documented, your SOPs, your checklists, all this documented, then we hire virtual assistants for you so that your business is running in a box. You have a business in a box, and then you can outsource and leverage your time to somebody else. Does that make sense? I'm going to say, does that make sense about 700 times in this call? But this is going to be my first one. Does that make sense to everybody?
And while you're typing in whether it makes sense or not, it's just important to note that, yes, Raul and I are both EXP agents, but this is not only we don't only work with EXP agents. We're brokerage agnostic. We're looking to help out any real estate agent who wants to make more money in less time by having things documented and having virtual assistants.
All right, cool. Let's go on to the next slide. Awesome, Alice. Grady, thank you by the way, this only works with participation. So like Chase said, if we're not getting participation, I'll just start calling on you. All right, so what are we going to cover in today's webinar? Chase, do you want to grab this one?
Yeah, sure. So it answers the question, what's the power of documentation and outsourcing? So we will talk about the power of offloading administrative duties and really how you can get 75% of the work that you do in a transaction off your plate and really never have to worry about it again. And you won't have to wonder if it's done or not, because you'll be able to check in on that process. And we're also going to talk about the tricks of, a lot of people hold on tightly to what they do as an agent, not necessarily understanding what they can outsource and what they should. And we have an easy question that you can ask yourself to figure out what that is. Also, in the same vein of all of this is, how can you leverage your time? What are the 4 things we do as real estate agents that are money-making activities? Prospect, follow-up, appointments, negotiate. You can tell I was in coaching with Tom Ferry because I had that driven into me. And how can we offload absolutely everything else so that we can focus our time on those 4 tasks, which is the highest dollar-producing activity that we can do? And then also, we've got a pretty cool giveaway that at the end of the webinar. Raul, you want to tell them about that?
Yeah, so and we'll talk about how this works at the very end of the webinar as far as our pricing goes. But one of the things that we will have often happen is people will come to us a la carte and say, we just want you to come in and do X, or we want you to come in and do Y. And you can tell I'm not used to having these things in my ears. And so one of those things that most people ask for is a buyer checklist customized to you. It's a 293 section document that goes very granular on the whole buyer process, literally from A to Z, and add 297 slots to that. So if you book a time with me, whether you're planning on working with us or not, is honestly irrelevant. If you book a time with me, I will give that to you and we'll do a little bit of customization on it for your process. And if you were to pay us for it, if you were to come to us and be a client and pay us for it, we would charge you just for that $1,500. So we're giving that away for free. Okay, Chase, do you want me to move on?
Let's roll.
All right, so Chase, this is all you, and this is very exciting.
Okay.
Everyone on this call, you're the green.
Yeah. So when I first was trying to wrap my head around what in the world do I do as a real estate agent, as I was writing things down, I realized that everything wasn't exactly linear, that a lot of things happened all at the same time. And for me to conceptualize everything, I had to be able to see it in order to understand it. And as I started documenting things out, I created what I called my detailed buyer workflow. So there's one for buyers, there's one for sellers, and then you can create a workflow for anything you do. But as I wrote it out and started identifying the major stages of a transaction, I started to realize who was responsible for what duties. As you look at this, it's kind of hard to read, but on the left, that one vertical line is the buyer lead to accepted offer. So that process is fairly linear. But after an offer is accepted, a lot of things start happening all at the same time. So you've got inspections and repairs, and then you've got client communication. You have the escrow process, talking with the lender. There's marketing that goes on with the buyer. And it's just kind of a storm of a lot of things that happen at once. But when I looked at it, I was starting to figure out, okay, well, who's responsible for what throughout this process? And the things you see in blue are what the client does. Those are basically decisions. What you see in the yellow are other parties, like what does the lender do? What's the inspector do? Title and escrow, etc. And then everything else that you see there that's green is something that the real estate agent or the real estate agent's team has to do. So within a buyer transaction, there are somewhere around 175 tasks from A to double Z that happen. And when you offload these, I don't know if you have on the next slide, is it the one that shows the blue of what you can outsource? Okay, so why don't you jump to that next slide?
I was trying to click my screen with you. I was like, why isn't it working? Here it is.
Yeah, so here on this slide, what you see are all the possible tasks that can be outsourced to someone who isn't licensed. So what can you outsource? All you have to do is ask yourself, does someone who's licensed, does someone who's going to do this task need to be licensed? And if the answer is no, they don't need to be licensed, it can be outsourced. If the answer is yes, they need to be licensed, it can still be outsourced because you can train somebody who's licensed to do that specific task. So what would your day look like if you were to be able to outsource all of these tasks? What's left in here, the green bits are prospect follow-up appointments and negotiating, right? Everything else is outsourced in this. So why don't you go to the next slide, Raul? So as we were talking about the total tasks when it comes to buyers, you can see there's 175 on there. And the agent is responsible for, or someone who's licensed is responsible for about 42 of them. And what that means is that we can outsource the other 133. So 76% of the tasks that we do in a buyer transaction, somebody else can do, right? That's administrative work. That's $10 an hour work. If you focused your time on prospect follow-up appointments and negotiate, the value of that time is like $500 an hour. If you don't outsource these 133 tasks because nobody can do them as well as you, or they can't do them as fast as you, or I want to save the money, you're essentially saying that it's more important for you to save $10 an hour than make $500 an hour. You're not willing to invest your time, which, the time to outsource all your buyer and seller admin work and have somebody take it over. The time it invested for you to work with us is 6 calls, and we can get it all documented. Then you don't ever have to do those tasks again. 6 calls to make $490 more per hour.
Yeah, so Chase, something I'd like to hit on this is we had a webinar last week where we covered similar stuff, but a little bit different. And one of our new clients from that webinar said one of the most profound things that I realized is that all that time I'm wasting on Facebook. Now, I don't know, is there anyone on this call? I would love to hear a yes to this question, because if you exist, I want to document you. Is there anyone on this call who loves being on Facebook 5 hours a day to do that marketing that you have to do, right? Is there anyone that just loves to do that loves posting 2 or 3 times a day? Is there anyone who enjoys that? Like, this is why I became a realtor, so I could sit on social media and do this marketing that I have to do. Anyone? Hopefully I'm getting a lot of no's, right? Or crickets. So no, exactly. Lots of no's. So one of the benefits, and one of our new clients said this, he said, I realized that I was on, Joan was like, no, Jack, grading, no, Jacqueline, no. One of our new clients said, I realized after I started working with you and working with Chase, that I was spending 2 to 4 hours a day engaging in social media somehow. Someone would respond to something I said, I would respond back, and I didn't need to do any of it. I realized that I was sending DocuSign. Sorry, my dog. Again, my dog is spoiled. All of you get to wait for Ollie. 1 second. Ollie, if I should go.
This is when you know the webinar is live.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not a pre-recorded webinar. So one of the same client said I was sending DocuSign. I didn't need to be sending the not signing, by the way. No VA should ever be, we are recording this, Tasia. No VA should ever be signing DocuSigns or TC signing DocuSigns, sending DocuSigns. I was sending emails that I didn't need to be sending. So there are thousands of things that you as a real estate agent are doing that are $10 an hour things that you're throwing away $490 an hour, right? And I'll use myself as an example. Chase is about to put his hand up, so I will say this very quickly. One of the things that I realized was that I was sending out hundreds of emails to lenders, to buyers, to investors, and they were the same emails. They were templated emails. And so one of the things Chase did, and he's going to show you this in this presentation, is when we train your VA on your systems, all of these, Tasha, thank you, Tasha. Thank you, I really appreciate that. If I say your name wrong, please correct me. No one can say my name right, so when people do, I'm like, oh, it's amazing. So something that Chase did was he created hundreds of email templates. And so now I'm confident that things are going out the way I want them said to who I want them said to, right? And it's all in the process. Does that make sense to everybody?
And the reason I did that and created all that stuff is, I mean, if we're being honest, I'm a micromanager. I spend a lot of time trying to figure out exactly how I want something done to create the result that I want. And if I want somebody to be able to do that, I create a very specific granular set of tasks with exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it, what email to send, etc. And, you know, one of the reasons we started this business was we realized that that's actually pretty valuable. I always thought I was a weirdo because I did all that and I wanted all that control. One, yes, I am a weirdo because I want all that, but because of that, other people can benefit from it. We've done all the work for you on the back end, so that you can just like reap the rewards and not have to go through the years of blood, sweat, and tears that I went through to do all this. And this will be a decent transition if you want to go to the next slide. So like, how do we do this? How do we document tasks? You can go to the next one again. Is, you know, we use Trello, but we're actually about to integrate a new CRM to be able to do this. But when we document your workflows and your business and your process and your checklists, one of the things we do is we go through absolutely everything you do with a buyer and a seller from very beginning to the very end. And we list out everything that needs to be done. For instance, the middle checklist that you see there is the day the offer is accepted for a buyer. That's a really, really busy day for a real estate agent. I think there's something like 16 items on that checklist. And it's probably hard to see again, but on the left, you can see like call client and let them know that their offer was accepted. That's something the agent needs to do. We need to capitalize on that opportunity to connect with the client at an emotional moment. And then it's we need to send the client a follow-up email because no matter what we say to them in that conversation, they don't remember anything. We just need to send a follow-up email letting them know here's what to expect in the next 10 days. And then there's email intros, there's opening escrow, there's setting up inspections, etc. And of those 16 tasks, only one of them needs to be completed by the agent. And that's that 3 to 5 minute phone call. That's the congratulatory email. And the rest of it can be handed off to the assistant. And with the pre-made email templates that need to be sent out, hey, escrow here, we need to open escrow, here is all the documents you need. Or an email intro between the buyer and the escrow agent and all the whole web of people that needs to be connected. We've created all those email templates for you so you don't have to worry about one, creating them or having somebody recreate an email every single time it goes out. And there are email templates for every stage of the process. If you go to the next slide, Raul, this is just a screenshot of a bunch of the different email templates that we've created. So there's a lot of them. How many emails do you write a day? We'll cover this also later, but I'm just going to drop it in right here. When when you get somebody who's a VA, when you bring on a VA from us, we document your processes, we create the checklist, we train a VA how to run your business. But then after they get their feet on the ground, after 4 or 6 weeks of working for you, we drip additional SOP trainings in for them to help them take more work off your plate and add more value to you. Like, for instance, there's a Testimonial Tuesdays campaign where they'll be able to post testimonials for you every week. But one of them is also email and calendar management. How many hours a day do you spend answering emails? So imagine having that all the way off your plate. And actually, if you go to the next slide again, Raul, just as we were talking about the additional trainings that you get. So when we first train the VA, they are going to get a lot of standard operating procedures right out of the chute. So the training they go through with us is pretty robust. It takes, usually at least 2 weeks for a VA to go through our training, if not sometimes 3, because there's so much for them to learn. So we handle all of that training of the VA on the back end. So we document your business, how you like to run your business. And from there, we then take your processes, your workflows, your checklists, and we take those and we use those to train the virtual assistants. So they are trained in your processes. And what this does for you is it really should create a lot of peace of mind, knowing that I've got my business documented. I know how it works. The VA knows how it works. They know what to do, when to do, how to do it, and etc. But how this creates peace of mind. Well, let me go into it this way. When I first got licensed, I joined a brokerage. It was a mom and pop brokerage, and it was very successful. The mom and pop had a brokerage, and they also had a property management company. And they were too busy to handle both. So they hired a property manager to run the property management company. And they found a grizzled veteran. She knew what she was doing. She could do a very good job. And what I noticed was once they hired that property manager, they just gave her free reign. Hey, go run it how you see best fit, that freed up a ton of their time. And they were able to go out and grow both businesses. They grew the brokerage, they grew the property management company. With that newfound time to grow the businesses, they tripled the size of the property management company in about 18 months. And what happened was that was so much stress on the property manager because she didn't have any documented systems. She operated from memory. She trained people from memory. Therefore, people were not trained until they remembered everything. Or if they had a question, they had to go find her to get the answer because it wasn't available to them anywhere. So 18 months later, the property management company size had tripled. It was overwhelming for the property manager. And one day she just didn't show up. And they had to step back in and try and take over a property management company that was 3 times the size with no processes in place. They didn't know where to pick up from. And in the span of about 3 months from there, the property management company collapsed. And they sold it for pennies on the dollar. And that knocked over the domino that caused the brokerage itself to collapse. So they had to close that brokerage and they moved everybody over to EXP. So that's actually how I ended up at EXP a few years ago. So a business built on people is dangerous. If you've ever heard someone say, holy cow, if this person left my business, I'd be up a creek. That's a scary place to be. If you know somebody like that, send them to us. We'd love to help them fix that problem. But if you have all your processes documented, when somebody leaves, because it's inevitable, it's not as scary because you know how to train them, you know what to train them on, and you should be able to pick up the pieces immediately. Yeah, the first couple of weeks are going to be rough while you're finding that replacement, but you should weather that storm, if not come out of it bigger and stronger. So that's what I got, Raul.
Can everybody hear while I'm typing responses
Yes.
to this? Wow, I'm so sorry, everybody. Tasha, thanks for telling me. I had no idea. All right,
We will fix that in the next.
Yeah,
the
I will
next
stop
one.
that. Thank you,
Yeah,
Tasha.
so-
Next. Okay, so I would like to share a story really quick about something very similar. By the way, all of these questions are really, really good. So please keep asking them. I will mute myself while I type so that you guys don't have to hear that. Jeez, I'm sorry. So as I said, I'm here in Mazatlan, Mexico. If you don't know where that is, come visit. It's a beautiful place. there's a company here, was a company here. They were the largest land deal company in Sinaloa. Very similar situation. Their chief operating officer left. They were making billions of dollars and they were paying him like 180,000. And he said, I want a raise. And they said no. And so he said, all right, great, I'm leaving. And if that's not penny wise, pound foolish, I'm not sure what is. But he left and he didn't come back. And $1 billion business collapsed in about 5 months because nothing was documented. It was this person, everything was in his head. And so if they had documented systems, they would still be around today. And now they're not, right? And so if it happens to billion-dollar companies, if it happens to multi-million-dollar companies, it's definitely happening to you and I as real estate professionals. All right. Go ahead. Do you want me to go to the next slide? Okay.
Sure. Do we want to answer some of these questions that are coming through?
Yeah, let's do that. I think everyone would appreciate that. So before we jump to the next slide, so I have to leave in a few minutes. Adriana, let's see. How long is this webinar? All great info, by the way. Thank you, Adriana. It's an hour. It's an hour webinar, so there's going to be another 30 minutes. Everyone on this call is going to get a replay. It takes about a day, but I then go with my team and we break it up and put all the pieces onto YouTube. So if you want to watch a very specific section, you can do that. All right. Does that answer your question, Adriana, and everybody else?
And then Alice and Shanta kind of asked a very similar question. Shanta says, "I'm a new agent. I do not have a process. How would you help me?" And then Alice, so this is for more established agents. Then, Raul, you want to answer those questions?
Yeah. So, okay, cool, Adriana. So the answer is yes. We can help you. The question that I'm going to ask you, right, when we have our call is how many deals a month are you doing? So let me ask that question now to kind of everybody in this call. On average, how many deals a month are you doing? And so as we go down and have our one-on-one call, by the way, Warda, can you drop my link in the chat and then I'll pin it as a sticky message, my calendar link, so people can book with me. But I'll ask how many deals a month are you doing? And then we'll see if it makes sense for you to bring somebody on. For most new agents, we have several new agents who are on our team. It makes sense for them to bring on a virtual assistant. Shanta, for you, it might not make sense if you haven't done a deal yet. But what would make sense for you is for us to have a call, right? Even if you're not planning on buying from us and working with us, book a time with me, have a call with me. And I have an extensive experience in sales and marketing and generating leads, which someone asked some questions about that, which we'll answer those questions. And I can give you a lot of feedback on what you can do to start bringing in business. All right.
Also, that buyer checklist. That buyer checklist. That
buyer checklist will help you generate business. So just book a time with me. And then here's the link. I'm going to copy the link and pin it. Chase, do you want to go to the next question?
Sure. I made a quick poll that people are answering currently as well. I've only done one deal. New agent right now, 3 on the go. Ooh, Alice, property management company. I've not done any deals yet. Jacqueline, what are the hours of the VA? Can you pick the hours? Yes. So the VAs are 40 hours per week. They work Monday through Friday. They work on your schedule, right? You want to talk nearshore, offshore benefits, Raul, or I don't know if that comes up later.
It's in the slide, but it's in the slide. But we can, we'll talk about it now. Is everyone okay with if we answer some of these questions now? When the slide comes, we just skip the slide. Is everybody good with that? I'm going to assume that's a yes. Okay, so I'm going to assume that's a yes. Okay, so Lori, Tasha, everyone said yes. Okay, cool. Yes. Okay, great. So first, let me talk about near shore, far shore, if you will. By the way, I pinned my calendar link as a sticky note, so you guys should see it at the very top of this chat. If you want to book a time with me, book a time with me and we can talk about your situation in more detail. Whether you're a new agent or you're doing 50 deals a year, book a time and we can talk about your specific situation in more detail. Okay, so let's talk nearshore, farshore. Then I'll talk about Google ads and I'll talk about marketing. I'll talk about all that stuff. So nearshore, what's the difference between nearshore and farshore? Nearshore means countries like Mexico, Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, countries that are within U.S. time zones, right? So I'm on one side of Mexico, which is Mazatlan. I'm in Pacific time. People who are on the Cancun side are in East Coast time, right? So that's one reason that it's very important for us to get people who are near shore, not in the Philippines or India or Pakistan or any of those places. Nothing against those people, but there's a big difference when someone's working during the day and sleeping at night. We have seen lots of performance issues. One. The other big reason we do it is most people don't know this, maybe many of you do, but the largest trading partner with the United States is, does anyone know the answer to that? The largest trade partner with the United States, of all the countries we in the United States trade with, is, they're a southern border. It's Mexico, right? Why is that important? Because English is a very important language here, right? So English is the #2 language in Mexico, obviously, and the bilingual programs at the best universities. Actually, Winona, it's not. It's Mexico. Mexico is the largest U.S. trade partner. China got their butts handed to them after this new round of embargoes came out against them. Yes, it is Mexico. That's correct, everybody. It's Mexico. So we recruit. The way we recruit, very specifically, is we recruit graduates from the top universities in Mexico who come out of the bilingual program. Lori, this partially will answer your question. These are folks that have been speaking English since they were about 5 or 6 years old. So their English is very good. In fact, it's better than many native English speakers. Their grammar is definitely better than many native English speakers. Why? How do we know that? We put all of our VAs through pretty rigorous spoken and written language tests, right? So we know their English is good. And then they go through an extensive training process on real estate that we've created. So we know their understanding of real estate is good. Now, what we have found, we used to just recruit people that had real estate experience. We don't do that now. What we now do is recruit people with social media marketing experience, who have an excellent English, social media marketing experience, and graphic design experience. Why? Because in addition to doing all of your administrative tasks, what we found is our agents and our clients love is that if this person can take over your social media posting, they understand how the algorithms work. They understand how to create really good graphic design, right? Does that make sense to everybody why we do it the way we do it? We also recruit out of Colombia, where they have in Central and South America, the best two countries with the best English are Mexico and Colombia, and they train the best. The reason their English is the best at higher levels is they have the best education programs for it. All right, and we test them on their English. So no one will come to you who doesn't have good English, who didn't pass tests, who didn't graduate from a top university. And unlike the US, where if I call the university and said, did this person graduate from that school? Yes, they can create in Canva also grading. This whole presentation is in Canva and it was done by my VA, right? So unlike, I lost my train of thought, unlike the US, where if I call the university and say, did John Smith graduate from your school? All they can say is yes or no legally. That's all they can say. In Mexico or in Colombia, not only will they say yes or no, but I can talk to professors and they'll tell me this student was X, this student was Y. This is why I would recommend you don't hire them. I have talked to professors that I would not recommend you hire this person, right? We do that level of checking on our VAs before they ever show up at your door. All right, so Lori, that was a long answer to your question, but let me answer the next question, then we will go to the next slide. Is that fair for everybody? Are there any other questions that I didn't answer that you have? And Lori, I'll answer your question and I'll answer another person's question, and then I'll move on. Lori said, do they do SEO work for Google Business, etc.? So the people that we are recruiting, right, who have the soft skill of social media marketing, they understand social media marketing. SEO falls within that wheelhouse, right? So, and there is some training that we do on it, but yes, it falls within that wheelhouse. Tasha said, what do you think about doing Google Ads to get business? Tasha, that's a conversation you and I should have offline. I can give you, there's a lot of better ways to generate business than using Google Ads. Google Ads is a lot of spend. There are better ways to do it than Google Ads. So just book a time with me in my calendar. Again, folks, even if you're not planning on buying from us, I've been in this business long enough. I've learned if I put good stuff in the universe, good stuff comes back. All right, that's my philosophy on it, on why. And so the last question that somebody asked, I think I don't want to put a name. Maybe it was Jacqueline. Was are they cold calling VAs? Will they do cold calling? No, they're not cold calling VAs. However, and this is a big however, we work with Guerrilla Realty. They own Guerrilla Marketing and Pipeline Pro Tools. They are probably the best real estate marketing company in the world. I've worked with them for a long time. We train, it's something we train our VAs on using their systems and generating new business, where you're not having to do cold calling, yet business is still coming in. All right? Okay, any other questions or can we move on?
Trevor just asked, do you match your VAs to the country the agent is in, or are your VAs sourced out of country? So I think
good question. So Trevor, all our VAs come from either Mexico or Colombia. Most of our clients, I'd say 95% of our clients are in the United States. Some are in Canada, and some might be in Greece, but they all come from Canada, or sorry, from Mexico or from Colombia.
And then for those of you who either have to leave early or weren't able to get here late, there is going to be a recording shared with everybody. So if you missed part of it, then you'll absolutely get access to that. So, Raul, you want to grab this slide?
Yes, and then.
Lori, we need to go over that one. We haven't gone over it yet.
Oh, sorry. My bad, everybody. Sorry. Will we be at EXPCon in 23 in Las Vegas next month? Chase, it's happened again.
Just so there you go. And then just click your left arrow on your keyboard.
Here, we're back.
You need to go back one more.
In the right place.
You might need to click your left arrow on your keyboard. So if you click on the slide, it's going to do that again.
There, here we go. All right.
Okay, so our training, as we go through the training, the first thing we do is we train them to understand the ins and outs of a real estate transaction with a buyer or seller, because we have to train them on the foundation and what they can do to take as much work off your plate as possible first. We're looking for that low-hanging fruit to really free up your time. And then what they, pardon me as I just kind of read off slides. So they're going to understand the ins and outs of real estate transactions for buyers and sellers. And then they're trained on your workflows, your business, how you run your business, so that they can be integrated into your business with minimal effort and difficulties. And they know how your business runs from day one. Yeah, there's going to be a few weeks where you learn how to communicate with the virtual assistant, their communication style, what works best for them. You know, it's just like the courting period, if you will. And it's designed so out of the gate, they're going to be able to take like 75% of the tasks associated with your buyer and seller transactions off your plate. That's where it starts. After they get their feet on the ground, understand how things work, how to work with you, and they start to feel comfortable. And, you know, that's like the 4 to 6 week mark. Then we start dripping in more and more trainings so that they can add more and more value to your business. Raul, if you want to click the next slide. And then for Tasha, she'll probably ask you to mute yourself while you reply. And so some of those onboarding, some of those additional trainings that we drip in, you know, like they can learn how to do every door direct mail marketing. So whether that's sending out offer accepted postcards or, you know, thank you notes or whatever, or if you have a geo farm, they can get that training. They can stay in touch with your database. We've got testimonial Tuesdays, as I brought up earlier, on how to like post a testimonial of yours every Tuesday on your social media so that you never miss a posting on Tuesday. There's email and calendar management training, like we talked about, system documentation and training certification course. So we have a process and a training that trains your virtual assistant how to create systems and processes, right? So if you ever have we don't want to be the bottleneck in this whole business, right? So you're bringing us on so that it can free up a bunch of your time. And if you're waiting on a specific process to be documented from us, then we're the bottleneck, which doesn't make any sense. That's why we want to train your VA on how to document things so that they know how to do it the same way every single time, so they can do it efficiently. And then also, if you need to grow your team or replace somebody on your team, you've got that documentation of how it's done. What's the standard of how this is done, so that you can implement it right away. And then if you want to hop to the next slide, I'm going to skip that last bullet. Okay, so a lot of people will come in hot and say, hey, I'm not worried about, an admin VA. I've got a transaction coordinator. Can I just start with a social media VA or some other sort of VA? What we do is all the VAs are trained to begin working with your buyer and seller process, and then they move into revenue generating tasks. And the reason we do that is we need to make sure you're able to handle all of the new business. If you're going to add an additional story to your house, you would make sure the foundation is set. Because as those VAs are trained in revenue generating activities, could you handle an extra 50 leads a month and service them right now, right?
So
probably not. Oh, go ahead.
So something I want to say, because I've talked to folks and individual calls, and they said, yeah, but. So what we have done this for a long time, and what we have found is it just does not work, right? It just doesn't work. What happens inevitably every time, and we've tried it, it didn't work and it failed. And what happened was a client came back and they said they were happy pissed, right? We've all been happy pissed before. I'm really happy that I have all these leads, but now I'm working longer, working harder, I'm overwhelmed, and I don't know what to do, right? So we have to first get all of your systems documented. We have to, one. And then after we get all of your systems documented and all the extra administrative tasks are off your plate and you have all this free up mind space, when you have 50 to 100 to now our systems with guerrilla marketing, when operating at full board, it's not going to be the first month we launch the guerrilla marketing playbooks into your business, but when operating at full bore, they can generate, and we've seen it happen, they can generate up to 1,000 leads a month. And most agents can close or closing 1 in 40 leads in that month, right? So do the math, do 1,000 divided by 40. That's what you're going to be attempting to close in a month. If you have no systems built, it will not work. You will fail, and you'll be very happy, mad at us, but more mad than happy.
You'll be stressed out.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people will also ask, well, I've got a TC. Can the VA do the TC work? Absolutely. You keep the TC on as the VA transitions into your business, but then you can slowly integrate the TC into that, and they're trained and they learn how to use like SkySlope and that sort of stuff as well. So we want to build a solid foundation so you can grow exponentially, but not have your hours worked grow in lockstep with that. So let's figure out how to free up your time, and then we can generate more leads for you.
Hey, Chase, do you want to answer the question? Adriana just asked, how can you control if they're really working 40 hours a week?
So that's an incredible question, right? So there's a couple ways to do it. So first off, what's important to know is that the VAs are on salary, right? And you're going to set their working hours. Okay, you're going to work for me in my working time zone, 8 to 5, you get an hour for lunch. So just know that that's how that's set up. And a lot of it is, so those checklists that you saw for buyer and sellers, that is going to be, you're going to, when buyers and sellers move to a new stage of the transaction, there are new tasks associated with that stage of the transaction. And that virtual assistant's job is to go through that checklist as far as they can go down it for every single buyer or seller that you have at that point in time until they're done. Now, does that take a little more than 8 hours some days? Yeah. Like if you had 3 buyers under contract on the same day, whoa, that, or like get under contract, offers accepted on the same day, that's a busy day. And the next day is a really busy day. And then the next day is a really busy day. If you're light on business, like you don't have anything in escrow, that then it's, how do you fill that white space, right? And that's yet another reason why we drip in those new trainings. It's like, okay, well, I figured out my VA can handle all this stuff and it really only takes them 3 or 4 hours a day. What are they going to do the rest of the time? And that's, that's where we're going to drip in more of the training on. Okay, so let's train them on social media. Let's help them understand how to, use guerrilla marketing to generate more leads to make you busy. Holy smokes. By the way, with the vanilla guerrilla marketing, we train them to generate those leads and then follow up with those leads. So they will handle a lot of that lead follow-up for you as well and warm a client up to the point to where they just want to have a meeting with you. So you don't have to do a lot of that follow-up process. So that's really nice as well. Did I miss anything on that, Raul?
Yeah, so no, that you answered the question. So, or I think you answered the question. You answered it to me, but if Rolanda, if you want to have a follow-up, and while you're following up, I'll answer the question Lori had. Lori, and this kind of falls into what Chase just explained. So yes, there's additional training. The problem I've seen with most VA companies is they're not process-driven and documentation-driven. So they just kind of throw somebody in and say, well, we really hope that they're going to cover 40 hours a week, and there's no way for us to track, and good luck, right? We know how much time those checklists take. We know how much time they take. We know have to run great training. Thanks, Peter. We know how much time it takes to do a guerrilla marketing process. We know how much time it takes to run an agent attraction playbook, right? And that's why we built it's a double win in a lot of ways. These checklists that people are following are literally do X. And then once X is done, now you go to step 2, do step 2, do step 3. We know how much time it takes to do that. If someone skips part of the step, one, they don't complete the task properly, problem. And 2, they don't spend the time, problem. So that's why they're trained on this, right? We will normally and I'll answer the part-time question. The answer is no on part-time VAs. Why? If you look at our funnel, right? We all have funnels for everything we do in sales. We have funnels. If you look at our funnel, top of funnel, we normally have 200 to 300 people. So people that are graduate from top schools, we have 200 to 300 people. If you look at the bottom of the funnel, it's 5 or 6 that come out. We only hire the best, right? The problem with part-time people when you're hiring the best is, and what I mean by the best, I mean people that used to work at American Express, only talking to Americans. People that used to work at UPS, when your taxes are lost and you're pissed off, only talking to Americans, right? Those are the people. And yes, we can do that. We have the ability to track the time when they're logged into the system and track those hours. Absolutely, right? But when you're talking to folks who have come out of FedEx and come out of Amex, they are looking for full-time jobs. So if we hire them at part-time and they get a full-time, they're going to leave. How do we mitigate that if we want to do full-time? Well, we hire crappy people. And we're not going to do that. We're not going to hire people who are not as good to give somebody part-time. It doesn't make sense for our business model. Now, what we have seen agents do is they'll share a VA, right? That's something that you can do. And we can book a time with me, we can talk about that. Yes, so Adriana, we provide checklists. Checklist is part of the documentation SOP process. Everything is documented, all of it, right? A VA doesn't just go in and wing it. None of our VAs are winging anything. Everything is documented and all the processes that they follow are documented.
And then I'll kind of hit, Carol, your question. Can a VA work for more than one agent to get to 40 hours? So Raul kind of answered that question on the part-time. What a lot of our, so EXP agents, agent attraction, right? Like how can we attract people to our organization? How can we grow it? And if we're trying to grow our immediate team, we will have a lot of team leaders hire on a VA, and that VA they offer that VA services to their buyer agents and listing agents. So in that regard, a VA, once they're properly trained, if they were going to only do admin work for buyers and sellers. One VA can handle up to like 50 transactions a year, so one a week. So they, you know, if you've got a team with like 10 members on it and they're doing all those deals, then yeah, that VA can definitely work. If it comes to, well, hey, I want this VA, but my friend across the country who's in a different state who runs a different business wants to share the VA, at least there would be 2 onboarding fees. And then what happens when one agent gets so busy they want to take over they want the VA for themselves? So that gets a little sticky. So book a call with Raul, workshop it, figure out what would work best.
Let's see. Lori, you asked a question that I don't think I answered. So let me go back and answer. You asked, are they trained in agent recruitment, agent attraction? Yeah. So there's some people on this call who I know from when I owned True North Alliances. I used to own an agent attraction company that was, that worked. So yes, it's something that folks are trained on, is how do you recruit. And again, we don't do this immediately. This slide says it all. We first give you the foundation and then we layer these other things on. So I started this thought and I didn't finish it. Most VA companies, it's why we are not one, we're a process company with VAs, is they just throw you a VA and said, good luck, right? What we do is we are constantly training your VAs. Why? 2 reasons. One, it's really important for your business. The more you grow, the better you do, the more you send us referrals, right? If I'm being selfish, 1. And then 2, the more you grow, the better you do. You might need more VAs, but it continues to provide stickiness and value. Most of our business has come through referrals. These webinars help, but a lot of our business comes through referrals. Why? Because our clients are incredibly happy with what our VAs have done for their business. That's because they are getting constant training all the time. The other thing that we do that I don't know of any other company that does is we have these, what we call powwows, but weekly calls, if you will, with all the VAs. And we ask them what is working and what is not. And many times what they'll say is, hey, we could really use training on this. We can really use training on that. And then we go and we create the training for that, which they're not doing in their working hours with you. They're doing it in their non-working hours with you. Does that make sense, everybody?
Raul, we've got just 3 minutes left. I don't know if you want to run through the last slides to let people know.
Yeah, so real quick, and if you were to do this on your own and find all these people, this is what it would take you. They are all college educated. We checked, we talked about this. Okay, this is the last slide, and then everyone can go. I'll stay on for a while to answer any questions. How much does it cost? If you did this, if you went and did through these pieces a la carte with us, if you had and you didn't want, it'd be if you did all of these things a la carte, it'd be $26,000. I don't think anyone should ever pay that. We specifically built our pricing this way. There's a $1,500 onboarding fee, a one-time onboarding fee. That's just the first month, and then it's $1,600 a month thereafter for your VA. The onboarding fee covers all of your documentation. So you'll have 6 meetings over the course of 2 weeks with Chase. He will fully document your processes. You will then get those processes. We will then have you meet with your VA. The other thing that we do is we have you, the client, do a DISC assessment, and we have all of our VAs do DISC assessments, and we match DISC assessments, right? DISC assessments we have found are much better than a 20-minute interview. Getting a full understanding of how you as a person work and how they as humans work are much better. And then you can meet the people whose DISCs you match with. All right. If you are interested in working with us or interested in getting that free SOP, either one, book a time with me. My calendar link is at the very top. And Warda, if you could drop it in the chat again, that'd be great.
If you're on the fence about, well, should I set up a call with Raul? Ask yourself this question. And this is part of the reason why I created the checklist for myself. Sometimes in the middle of the night or some other time of the day, I would stop cold, like, oh my God, did I do that for this client? And I would it was like a, pardon me, but it was an oh shit moment. And that kind of forced me to think, okay, did I do this or did I not? How can I check? So I create these checklists. So the buyer checklist has 175 points on it, and we're going to give it to you for free. So just book a call with Raul and get your hands on the checklist so that you don't have to wonder, was this done or was it not? And you can compare it to what you do. So when we do it for people, not every checklist item survives. So, book a time with Raul, get your hands on it, and then really it'll help you streamline things so you can run through transactions faster. And if you follow the checklist for every single client, people are going to get more consistent results and experience with you, which should then also lead to more referrals. And also that way you're treating every single client the same, so you can alleviate any sort of like, well, you gave this client this service, but you didn't give it to me, I'm suing you. So you can also protect your license.
Yeah, we've all seen, unfortunately, the United States is getting more and more litigious. So processes protect us from litigiousness. All right. That's it. Thank you everybody for coming. If you have questions, please ask them. Chase and I will stay on for a few minutes until there's no questions, and then we will drop off. So if there's any other questions, anything we didn't answer that you had questions about, please ask. If you're wondering why I'm drinking out of a big yellow bottle, it's because I trained jiu-jitsu for 3 hours. You have to set up a call first to win. To win what, Rolanda? It's definitely a win. If you and I talk, it's always fun.
Yeah, Rolanda, maybe you're just asking, how do you get your buyer checklist? You just got to set up a call with Raul, and he'll get that so he can customize a little bit for you as well.
The VA, Amy, the VA is not paid through escrow. You pay the VA. Amy, it's good to see you, by the way. I'm glad we got to have our call, and I'm glad you came today.
So, Deborah, I'll answer that question. So, if you think back to that slide when we were talking about like the buyer workflow slide, how everything was all going on at once, how our checklists are organized are in a linear fashion. What needs to happen first, next, second, etc. So when we onboard a client, we've got pre-made, like when I created the checklist, I came up with these, for lack of a better word, different stages that a buyer goes through in a buyer transaction. And, it's new buyer lead, after the buyer consultation, if we're going to work with them, actively searching for houses, offer writing preparation, accepted offer. And then once the offer is accepted, I do like the day the offer is accepted, 1 day after, 2 days after, 3 days after, 1 week, 2 weeks after, and then after inspections are conducted, then 2 weeks before close, 1 week before close, etc. So that's how it's set up, because we look at it in a linear way, what needs to happen first, second, next. And, we set them up that way. Yeah, there we go. Kind of was trailing off. It's set up that way. But when we document your checklist with you, when you get a VA with us, we will sit down and scrutinize that checklist, and we will reorder it. We can rename stages, etc. But I've coached and onboarded hundreds of people with this checklist, and only once did a guy want something changed, and as opposed to like the name or position of a checklist. So it's completely customizable for you. So how are they hosted? So currently, I like Trello because it's, that's how I first did it, and it was free. And we have ways to show you how to put it into Trello. But what we're actually doing and creating currently is a pretty neat CRM. Raul, how much can we talk about this before?
I think we can talk about it we can talk about it.
Because it's going to have like incredible functionality. So, and if you, the checklists, we would go over for you, and you get free access to our CRM, and the checklists are uploaded into the CRM so that when you have a new buyer client, it automatically assigns the tasks to you or to your assistant within the CRM. And then as they move to different stages of the transaction, the new tasks are automatically populated. And that's how we'll do it that way. And the CRM is going to be pretty neat. It's going to have, you can do listing website pages to where you can do lead capture and a lot of other cool stuff. And it's going to be free. And you can create funnels and do all sorts of neat workflows. So if you're unsure, I would first book a time with Raul. And if you don't want to do that, come next week, because at the end of that call, I believe is when we're going to offer the checklist to people through the CRM so that it can be automated. And also with that CRM, you'll be able to do email campaigns to clients. You can text and email from it, do client follow-up, etc.
And Deborah, to answer your question, and within the CRM, the tasks are fully customizable and calendarable. Yes. That's correct. They are. And there are automated reminders. There's tasks. The way like Chase said, how do you know when the items are being completed?
It'll be checked off.
And dates. Yeah, it's checked off when it's done. And you can see the task that was done and how it was done. Yeah,
so Deborah, you log in, you can see your dashboard, right? And in the corner of the dashboard, it's like today's tasks, and it's whatever's living there still, is what needs to be done. And then if you wanted to see what's been done for what client, you would go into that client. It's called an opportunity within the client pipeline, and you can see what's been checked off and what needs to be completed still. Deborah, CRM is free. And the reason that is we want to get people in and using it. And then we train our VAs within that CRM, right? We want it. Everybody here knows how big of a pain it can be to use multiple CRMs. And we would like this to be the one spot that everybody runs their business from. Now, if you're like someone who pays a bunch of money for Follow Up Boss, now you can still use Follow Up Boss, and you could just have your VA use this CRM.
How does this transform your current business? Sounds like it would really boost your closings and profits. Yeah, so absolutely, Amy. What our clients have found, and I can say what it did for me personally, but people would look at me and say, "Oh, you're a little biased," wouldn't you say? So I'm not going to talk about it. What it is awesome, Amy. It is awesome. So what our clients have found is that they reduce a ton of work that they didn't need to be doing, which does two things. It gives them more physical time that they have, but the other thing that it does is it reduces a huge amount of stress and mental space. And we all know when we're stressed, we're just thinking about, we're just in that let's put out the next fire phase that many of us have been in for a long time. And that phase is gone. And now you're just focused, you're able to focus and plan for the future. You become much more profitable. You enjoy your life and your business a lot more. And you have two options. Option one is you go do more deals, and then you do the things in the deals, only the things that you want to do and you like doing, one. Or two, you go and surf more. It's really up to you, right? Maybe you don't like surfing, but maybe you like spending time with your kids. But yes, you become more profitable and more efficient, and you enjoy your practice and your life more. That's been the experience of our clients.
I remember when I first started, getting to 2 deals a month was like, I first didn't understand how he could do 1 deal a month consistently. And then I started doing like 8 deals a year, and I thought I was busy and stressed out. Then I started doing 12, then I hit 20, and it was like, this is chaos. I'm not enjoying this. This is not what I signed up for. Because everybody gets the real estate license because they want to make a ton of money and they want to have complete control of their calendar, which is a joke, right? If you're successful at being a real estate agent, which most of us on this call probably are, or you're getting ready to be successful, then you know that we don't have full control of our calendar. But when you can get somebody to put out these fires, like Raul was saying, and actually what they really do is they put them out before they even start, then you free up a lot of brain space. and there's a lot less stress on you, and you start to enjoy what you're doing more, and you can learn new things about yourself and your business and how you can conduct business better to grow it bigger, faster, stronger. And what ends up happening is you start to realize that you're not working. When you're working, you're not realizing that you're working, but you're, seeing your bank account balance grow consistently over months because you're doing consistent number of deals every month. Any other questions we can ask for people? Answer for people?
Are there any questions that we didn't answer that we should have? We answered a lot of questions.
One we didn't answer was like, if somebody signed up, how soon can they get rolling, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's one we didn't cover. So what's that timeline look like? So you book a call with Raul, he chats about it. And if we decide we're the right fit to work together, what happens next is you get on a call with me and I start, you pay your onboarding fee, and then you get access to my calendar and I start onboarding you. And it's usually about 6 calls, and that's a 2-week time frame. After you're done at that point in time, we then turn around and we have to go find a VA that's a match to your DISC assessment and start training them on your business. And that training time is pretty robust. So it's 2 weeks or so from the time you finish to the time we have a new VA that's trained in your processes. So let's say from the time you pay your onboarding fee of $1,500, within a month, you'll have a VA who understands how to run your business and is able to step in to your business and help you start running it. Any other questions? I'll just start calling on people. Jason, Jessica, I don't like butchering names. Oyen, Eva, Brian, Molly, Christina, Deborah, Patricia.
I can do one that I can sell. Joan. I can do Joan.
I could pronounce that one.
Tasha, any more questions? You had a lot of really good questions. Do you have any more, or have I done anything else annoying on the call that I need to know about? Actually, let me just ask that. Did I do anything else, Tasha, annoying that no one else wants to tell me, but you're like, next time, don't do that?
We'll find out a way to get him a special keyboard that doesn't clack as he's typing away on it.
Yeah, I'll buy me a keyboard.
Corporate accounts payable. Nina speaking. Just a moment. Cool. All right. So going once. Any more questions? Drop them in. If we don't get any other questions, we are happy to be here. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. Book a time on Raul's calendar, and it's always a fun conversation if you get Raul one-on-one for an hour. He will make you laugh. He is a rapport building machine.
Awesome. All right, cool. All right, everybody. Well, listen, have a wonderful day. I'm going to drink some more water out of my big yellow obnoxious jar here. Mahalo. Thank you. Deborah, I surfed this morning, so that's why I'm so happy. And there's no sharks in the waters in Mazatlan, unlike Hawaii. There's no sharks here, and we have really nice waves. It's like Greece, where there's no waves, but no sharks either. So I will see all you soon. We do have stingrays, not fun. All right, everybody, have a great day, and we'll see. We'll be on next week. Before I go, next week we're gonna roll out, Deborah, Amy, Jason, Warda, we're going to roll out our new system, our CRM, that we're going to give the CRM away for free. That's going to be the giveaway to book a time with me. If you've already booked a time with me and you're like, hey, I want that, I will give it to you. You don't have to book another time. So I will see all of you next week, those of you who join.
All right, Raul, I'll see you in just a minute.
All right, cool. Take care, everybody.
Later.
Bye.